Mexican street food by us.
Basic information. Mexico is North America. It is right below the U.S. and it is above Guatemala and Belize. It is surrounded by the Pacific Ocean on the right and the Gulf of Mexico on the left. And the population is 127.5 million, and the capital is Mexico City. Some of the important cities include Mexico City, and some okay, next slide.
Here's some historical background. The Aztecs is an ancient civilization that lived in Mexico. However, the Mayas is a set of people who inhabited Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula and parts of the states of Tabasco and Chiapas, as well as modern-day Guatemala, Belize, and other small parts of central Mexico. There was a Spanish conquest. Their surviving conquistadors escaped the city and later returned with Spanish reinforcements. They bravely laid siege to Tenochtitlan for months and finally captured it on August 13, 1521, with the Spanish taking their rightful place as leaders of the land we now know as Mexico. The conquest was accomplished. There is a slave history, which happened in the 1500s and early 1600s. The New Spain, which was a colonial Mexico, had one of the highest important rates of enslaved Africans to Americans, leading to large population in cities in their first decade of independence. The Mexican government abolished the slave trade in 1824 and instituted slavery in 1829. The Mexican War of Independence started on September 16, 1810 to September 27, 1821. On September 16, 1810, declared independence from Spain, and September 27, 1821 was recognized by Spain.
On the culture, the majority of the religions are Catholic Roman at 78%, Protestant at 10%, and Judaism at 1.5%. Whereas also the other percentages are just the different cultures that are just smaller. The most common languages are Spanish and the official language of Mexico is Spanish, which is spoken 90%, and the people in the Indian languages are of the Aztecs, Mayans, and other tribes that are spoken throughout the country. The most popular music genres are son, corrido, mariachi, banda, and the main art style is folk art that you'll see in just markets all over Mexico. And the most popular foods are tacos, tamales, and enchiladas and stuff like that. And the democracy and dictator struggles with high energy prices and expensive telemarketing services, and the government also is not very strong. There are high mountains and deep canyons in the center of the country, deserts in the north, and dense rainforests in the south and east. The wealth disparity between the rich and poor. The wealthy 10% of Mexico is 2.20 times higher than the income of the poorest 40% of the country. And the meaning of the flag is, in 1821, they adopted the tricolor pattern. The vertical green stripe represents independence and hope. The white represents Roman Catholic unity, and red represents the friendship between Europe and Mexico.
The two major problems facing Mexico today is drug trafficking and cartels and border control. Drug cartels are independent Oregon contraband organizations, and it has been making millions by selling drugs across Mexico and the United States. This problem started in the 1970s when there was a mass demand of cocaine in the U.S., which is when most cartels started to rise up. Since then, Mexico has overtaken China as the #1 supplier of goods into the U.S. with drugs like heroin, marijuana, and cocaine. This is a complicated problem to solve as the cartel has their hands everywhere in the government, in the police, even in the military, which makes it almost impossible to do anything about it. Over these years, the most notorious gang has been the Sino cartel, with leaders like Joe Quinn, El Chapo Guzman, and Ismael El Mayo Zambada. Border control is a large growing numbers of migrants trying to get into the U.S. by going through Mexico. The majority of the countries include El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras, among others. Mexico is letting this happen from the cost of how to get into Mexico. The wall Trump was going to build made the Mexicans feel unwelcome.
And this is a photo of like which countries have been going to the U.S. most from Mexico. And the most common I think is Ecuador, which is going through, and also Guatemala, then Nicaragua, then Cuba.
Here is a daily life of an average of a 13-year-old. So this person gets up at 5:30 and walks to school. From school, school ends at 1:40, so he walks back to his house and he plays on his computer until 4:30, where he has soccer practice, which ends at 6:30. After soccer practice, he tends to the horses, the goats, and the chickens, and the cats for about 2 hours, and then he reads and goes to bed near 8:30.
And our street food was carnitas.
Carnitas are considered as a Mexican delicacy. Carnitas are originated in Mayacan, which is in west central Mexico. Carnitas are usually associated with festival occasions, and Mexicans usually eat it on the weekdays. It is usually sold in marketplaces. Carnitas vendors are common, some would even say indispensable sight at Tijuana's, another word for marketplace in all states.
Here are some fun facts about carnitas. Unlike tacos or beans, carnitas wasn't part of the diet of ancient Mexicans. The reason is that pork was brought to Mexico by the Spanish colonists only in the 16th century. However, it didn't take long for this new type of meat to earn its place on the tables of Mexican of all backgrounds. Carnitas means little meats, so it's like pork, like chopped up. And the origin of carnitas comes from the state of Michoacan, like located in the western Mexico.
These ingredients use coconut orange juice, pork shoulder, tortilla, salt, pepper, turmeric, garlic, and jalapeno. And it's like a meat, and it can go on basically everything. It's usually put on a tortilla. People eat them.
Kind of the sauce. And here are some salads.